We well past our break. Woo-wee.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know. Oh, I know. But
I
it's so
said sorry, Marlon.
but but it's so good. That's why I didn't say anything. It's so good. The last one, the Supreme Court blocking the president's student debt forgiveness. But like I said at the beginning of this um, show, there's a caveat. Not even a caveat. It's kind of a surprise that I don't have enough information on it. But if it does go the way it's supposed to go, it's actually kind of good news. But I just don't have enough. They haven't given enough. So I'm gonna be specific. Don't look at me like Marlon didn't do enough research. They're not releasing enough information out there yet. And I even know the reason why they're not even releasing enough information about it. So let's go ahead and get into that.
Hey, Carl. Well, we now have gotten the Supreme Court ruling when it does come to student loans. The court has struck down a Biden administration program that would have offered individual borrowers up to $20,000 of student loan forgiveness. They have found that Biden did not have the standing under a 2020 COVID era law to give that sort of forgiveness. This obviously is going to have a huge impact on retail. We're talking about 40 million borrowers who would have seen some sort of forgiveness from this, either partial or full. And those borrowers, they're going to have to take another look at their budgets. This means less money for clothes, for electronics, for eating out. JP Morgan estimates that this could have about $10 billion of headwinds on retail. And remember, too, it's not just this Supreme Court case that borrowers have to look at. They haven't had to make any sort of payments on their student loans since March of 2020 because of COVID. But those payments are going to re-begin now in October. And that means yet another hit for borrowers and then subsequently another hit for retail. Now, the Biden administration is trying to provide some sort of relief to borrowers. They've talked about a 3-month grace period, and they have proposed a plan that would basically tie student borrowers' repayments to their income. So borrowers wouldn't pay more than 5% of their discretionary income under this proposed plan. But definitely a big ruling from SCOTUS, a big hit to the Biden administration, to student borrowers, and to retail.
Emily, do we know if there's any grace period in here that is allowed for these payments?
So for this, it really just deals with the actual forgiveness of the loans. The repayments is on a bit of a different track, but it's obviously very much related to the retail market and the impact it's going to have. So student borrowers still have a couple months where they do not yet have to make payments on their loans, but when they do in October, they're not going to see their loans shrink any. That's what this plan would have done, and the Supreme Court has now effectively ended it.
Okay. Well, let me say this real quick
Uh-oh.
before we get into a big long brouhaha that'll take us into Monday. Um, Here's the deal. And I'm going and I'm telling you and I'm explaining to you how I took it. Okay. Not rules and regulations or anything like that. It's not something I saw or something like that. It's how I took it. Here's the deal is that plan that Biden gave to the Supreme Court for the um, student loan release
The
or
debt forgiveness. We with you.
the
Yeah.
debt forgiveness of it was just a first shot. It was a first shot at the Supreme Court to see how they will react to it. So it wasn't literally like they knew this was going to work. They wanted to see what the Supreme Court was going to say about it. In other words, they wanted a blueprint of what the Supreme Court was going to say. Now that they have a blueprint, they have Plan B already set up. And not only do they have Plan B set up, they're going to use the Supreme Court's decision as a blueprint to get this second plan through. Now, part of what she was saying was true. One of the things was they was going to go by your income. So it wasn't going to be a set amount that you have to pay. You have to pay this set amount, period, no matter what. It was going to go, one of the plans was it was going to go by how much money you make per year is based on your payments. Or was it? Because, like I said, not enough of the information has been going out. So that's why I said Biden been in this game for a long time. So when I'll be the first to say, I thought student loan forgiveness was it. It was canceled. Okay, we're done. We're gonna move on. No, Biden said nope. We had a plan for this too. We just need a blueprint. We just need to know what you was gonna say and how you was gonna say it and how you was gonna turn it down. So when the next plan come around, don't turn to us and go, yeah, you can't do that. No. Well, you can't do it because of A, B, and C. No, we actually did A, B, and C. That's literally going by what you said. This is what you said the last time you turned us down. So we did A, B, and C. This is your words, not mine. Again, a lot of this is confusing, and I apologize for it because they're not releasing the information. And that's probably on purpose too. We don't want to give you all you showed us your cards that we tricked you into showing your card, but we're not going to show you our cards yet. Smart move, really. It is a smart move.
Oh, you being so gracious.
Of course it is, because why, Tracy?
This was the wrong act to use student loan debt forgiveness for. There is another act that they could have used, and I think it was passed in 1969, and I cannot think of the name of that act, but it specifically gives the President of the United States unilateral authority to cancel student loan debt without the Senate, without the House. I don't know what the point of using this COVID bill was, because I'm like, this is going to get, I knew it was going to get struck down, because I'm like, this is the wrong avenue. And yeah, it's good to make payments, but you know what? This is going to be, you already had states like Indiana saying if the student loan debt forgiveness goes through, they're going to tax what you get. They already had planned it. They knew what they were going to do. I'm hoping that Biden uses that act that I'm referring to that I can't think of the name, although I'm questioning why didn't you use that in the first place, because that's a whole lot clearer than this COVID bill, because I'm like, this is and I know nothing about legality, nothing. What I learned about law, I literally watched on Perry Mason. I don't know anything, like nothing. But I'm like, this seems like to me to be the wrong one to use when there's a specific law that says that you can unilaterally do it. You don't need Congress. You don't need Senate. You can just pick up that pen, sign it, and go. But of course, we have a court that makes up their own rules as they go. So who even knows if that's going to work?
Can I ask you something, Tracy?
Yes.
Have you ever played poker?
No.
Okay.
You're going to say you don't play your hand, though. I bet you'll say something like that.
No. In poker, there is a certain thing called a bluff. There are other terms like a tell, where there is something that the one player does where they give off whether they have a good hand or a bad hand. Now, the majority of the game, if you actually look at a poker tournament, a lot of people, that was a good hand. Oh, that was wonderful. But the majority of it is a mindset. In other words, I can have the most terrible hand in the world, but I can look you straight in the eye and go, oh, Tracy, woo, you didn't want this one. I'm one card away from beating the crap out of you. And the one card is dealt to me, and it ain't nowhere near the hand that I want, because I didn't have a hand to begin with.
Yeah,
but do I look at you and go,
I get what you're saying.
No, I'm going to look at you and go, and that's the card that I wanted right there, buddy. That's the card I wanted right there. What you going to do, buddy? If I'm doing all of this and you have no idea what's in my hand, what would you do? Would you fold or would you bet?
I get what you're saying, and I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong so bad because, like that reporter said, there are 40 million of us dealing with a debt we'll probably never ever pay off. Never. And it's like this is people are gonna say, "Oh, you always right against the Democrats." This is like one of the few times I'm like, okay, well, no, I always hope every president is successful, even Trump, but he wasn't. But this is the issue that I'm like, I want you to be successful with it because it helps so many people. If you have to, those student loans will take you out, and not just buying electronics. I'm talking about paying rent, paying mortgage, buying food, getting medicine. I'm talking about just basic life stuff. So yeah, I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong.
My point is,
No, I wouldn't, Susan, because I don't like cards.
my point is that when you're playing this type of game and you have two plans and you know one is the best version, but you're dealing with corruption, you don't give them your best plan. You give them plan B. Plan A is plan B.
Yeah, but
But you
I
don't
get where
give them
you
plan A. I know that's confusing.
yeah, I get what you're
I
saying,
know
but I'm
that's
like
confusing, and I was trying to find a better analogy
the
of,
situation with
what I
student
was
loan
saying.
debt is so severe. It's so I mean, people are in need of relief now, not 6 months from now. Right now, people are in need of relief.
Tracy,
But
be
that's
realistic.
not the
That's not
reality
how
of
it
life.
works. We've been saying that for a year. I want my stuff right now. Sorry, no. You
So
can
what do
yell
you?
it to the top of your lungs until
So
you.
you're gonna tell people, hey, you gotta pay
Yes,
that loan.
yes, I will.
Yes.
Because it takes that long. Yes, I will. And you know what's going to happen when it takes that long? Thank you. If you have not been paying for this long and it's going to take longer, and I'm doing my best to make sure that you still are not paying, and I do get the job done, 6 months to a year from now, you're going to sit there and go, well, thank you, but it took almost 2 years. It took a year and a half.
They will
No.
exactly do that.
That's not.
Marlon, when you played the video, I already heard you told me I was gonna get $2,000 and I got a $1,400 check.
Yeah,
That's what I heard
no, that was a lie.
immediately.
Yeah, no, mm-mm.
That's what
That was
I
a lie.
heard. Even though you got a
That's the act I'm
$600
talking
check
about.
and then you got a $1,400 check, which by my math is $2,000. But either way, what I heard was that because people don't give you the benefit of the doubt for anything, and they don't want to. They say they want better politicians to do X, Y, and Z, but they don't want the process that goes with it. Okay, so what did they do when Biden didn't have his whole team out in front on the railroad strike? And I was one of them. I ain't like it. I mean, I was not in agreement with y'all. I was in a different position from y'all, but still, people were like, "No, he needs to be and he hates unions and But you don't do everything in the light of day. You don't, depending upon who you have to negotiate with, depending upon the stakes that are at hand, depending upon so many factors, it depends on whether you shame somebody in public or you work with them behind the scenes or you call somebody else in or right. So what did he do? He took it off of the main stage, took it backstage, got it done. The union said thank you. There we go. We had the debt ceiling dumbassery that was happening. People said, why aren't you out there embarrassing the Republicans? You should be out there screaming and yelling from the rafters. But the man's been in Congress for 40 years. He knows exactly how it works over there. So what did he do? He said what he had to say in public, but for the most part, he kept that shit behind closed doors. And then next thing you knew, he screwed the Republicans over on even what they thought they were going to get. So I'm not saying that he's like this wonderful thing. I am saying that the work ain't quite done yet just because we can't see it happening. So if he's able to get something great, If he can't, well, let's get a better politician in there who can next go round. Because the reality of the situation is no one owes us relief. I'm in the ballpark, man. I sent my paperwork in and said, hey, can you please forgive mine too? I sent it in because this show will help me and my family not to have to pay that junk. But no one owes that to me. So go do the work. Please come through because we need it. But it ain't something. I went to school. I did. I had bad situations. I mean, I actually went in a time where the loans weren't as predatory as they are now.
Yeah, they are extremely predatory.
Right? But still, the argument still exists. You went, right? You signed on that paperwork. It was a jacked up deal. They had you over a barrel. It was get an education or not get an education. So they screwed you every which way. I am in full agreement with there. That's why we need to fix what's happening with student loans. Because see what this thing does, this relief thing that we're all worried about, it doesn't fix anything.
No, now I agree with you there.
The students are still getting beat up every time they try to go to school. It's now $100,000 to go to college when it was just what $50,000 20 years ago. So it's doubled in 20 years, and it's going to double again in probably the next 10. So something has to give. I'm just saying we need to really get a little bit better at what we're mad at, so that we're mad at the right things, so we can push for the right things. So I'm like, hey, let's see what happens with this. I hope he does come through, like Tracy said, because people really do need it.
Yeah,
but no one's entitled to it.
And the deal is,
but corporations are entitled to the relief.
No, that's a false argument.
No, that's a
you're
false
making
argument.
a false argument.
That's not a false argument.
It is a false argument. You said no. You said because it's raining over here, we shouldn't have sunshine over there. The hell does that mean? Tracy, I'm saying that.
Let me put it to you this way. Let me put it to you this way.
So y'all okay with corporate?
No, see, you're doing that right there. Another
Tracy,
false argument.
Tracy, this is
you don't argue in fair and good faith.
I agree with you wholeheartedly that this needs to happen. I 100% agree with you wholeheartedly. But you got a house now.
True.
You're finna move into that house.
True.
You know how long it took you to sit at that table and sign document after document after document after document. I did it. Well, it's been a while, but I know I was sitting here going, damn it, why do I keep having to sign all this crap? So I know how long it took.
And did you read every line? Did you digest every word?
God forbid that I don't want none of this to happen. I'm just making a point that if you go on foreclosure, you can't run and go, this is the country we stay in, and this is bad, and they need to forgive my mortgage.
Okay, Joe Manchin. You making the same argument Joe Manchin is making.
No, we're not. No, what you're doing is making the same argument that a Republican makes. You are talking my Republican-y right now. So it's like, okay, if I don't agree with your specific point, you will create a straw man and say, well, look over there.
Yes,
right? So if you're not no, that's what you did. That's what you did. That's exactly what you did. You created a straw man argument and said, look over there.
I'm going to shake my head no, because I disagree.
It doesn't matter because I know I'm right. And anybody who's watching knows I'm right. You can shake your head all day long. You did it.
Let me phrase it a different way, Tracy.
It's just, well, let the corporations get their money.
Wait a minute. But Tracy,
who said that?
Corporation existed. This is not a trick. You was not tricked into signing those papers.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
So that is just, but you can't come back and go, but them corporations are getting rich on it. Yes! They were. You knew they were. They was getting rich.
This is a bad.
The argument you're making is a good argument against how America does capitalism. And that's a wonderful debate to get into because it's crooked, it's foul, it's predatory, it breaks people, It turns people into commodities.
But I'm
So
gonna say this one point. I'm gonna say this one point, and then I'm done. Walmart, the largest retailer in the United States today, 2/3 of their employees qualify for Medicaid. Walmart encourages their employees to apply for Medicaid. They do it all the time because I know people that work at Walmart. They got the big signs in the break room. My point is, why does our government give Walmart subsidies? Why? Give the American people subsidies. That's all I'm really saying. That's the core of what
I
I'm
get
saying.
it, but the way you prefaced your argument was you twisted mine. So if you're actually asking that particular question you just did, I'd be happy to go down that path because it goes into one of the things we agree on, right? America has commoditized everybody, right? From birth, we're commoditized. How much value do you add to the American economic system? And based on how much value you add is how much concern and care we will give you. So when we're running into a situation where, oh no, the banks are running out of money. Well, what do the banks do? The banks help stabilize the overall economy. The banks make sure that our imaginary economic system is moving. The banks make sure that the lobbyists get the money flowing on Capitol Hill. The banks do all of these things that are self-serving to the political class and to other wealthy people. So they're going to go ahead and socialize the hell out of anything that's bad happening to the bank and the corporations. Right. But on the other side, why is it that we had to fight so hard for COVID relief? And the COVID relief was a joke anyway. Like, you give somebody $1,200 one time, and that's supposed to help them for the year? Are you kidding me?
No, because
right?
you'll buy drugs with that money, says Joe Manchin.
Says Joe Manchin. But what I'm saying is, I'm getting at your underlying point. The reason why they do it one way and not the other way is because poor people don't make money. Poor people don't have lobbyists. Poor people can't affect what makes it matter for my wealthy family, right? But rich people can. Rich people finance my campaigns. Rich people put my kids through private school. Rich people make sure I can take private jet trips when I'm a Supreme Court justice. Rich, you see what I'm saying? So that's why. When you ask why, that's why. So, but it's not the same as saying that if I vote over here, I'm also saying that. That's a similar argument, which is why I don't say this to you. It's a similar argument to when people say you vote third party, you're voting for a Republican. It's similar. You're taking something that's weakly related, like if you stretch real hard, but it's not true. Because the reality is, I voted for a third-party candidate. I never was going to vote for your candidate, so I didn't take a vote from him. I voted for who I wanted to vote for. Right? Isn't that the case for a third party?
I have a totally different argument, Theus. And mine is short and sweet to the point because we need to go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know how to do short. Sorry.
I know. You don't. You never do. Tracy, take your whole argument that you said. I agree with literally everything you said. Word for word. Not define absolutely nothing. There is no but, there is no however, there is no but. If you look on the other side, nothing. I will agree with every word that you said. You take that argument and you put it in somebody else that said the exact same thing as they walking through the doors of Walmart.
That's true.
That's the issue that I have.
Yeah, because we don't have,
you literally have an argument against the institution that you're funding. That's why that's why I keep saying that you know what the issue is and still you fund it. The people who Amazon have workers that's going
But do we have
around
a
and they're
choice,
burning up
though?
in warehouses
You
and
do.
falling
Yeah, I
out
agree.
and
But
using
do
bathrooms and
where?
everything else.
What's my
Wait a
choice?
minute. They
Kroger.
got candles on. They got candles
Yes,
on sale.
They don't treat their workers right.
I
Publix.
agree.
They don't treat.
I agree.
What corporation? Large
So Tracy,
retail corporation
But
treats their
but
workers
but
right.
my argument
but
is,
Tracy,
Tracy, what I said
that's a
is,
very good point.
you know all these arguments, but at the same time you're funding the argument. The
But
people who sit there saying that they complain about Amazon and their workers and being underpaid and using the bathroom in a bottle because they can't pull over because they got to get the delivery done are the same people who are saying all these things as they're on the Amazon website trying to get the
Ordering something
cheapest
else.
but they
candles that
don't
they can
have
possibly
another
get
choice.
because they got a party
They
going on.
do.
What choices do they have? I'm
They
asking.
have
All right. So if
plenty of
you
choices.
wait, Marlon, please. Amazon. There's nothing that says you have to order from Amazon.
That's true.
Absolutely nothing. Walmart. You don't have to shop at Walmart. Even if you're in a community that doesn't have but one Walmart, there are other little small things all over the place. There's always a little rinky-dink gas station. There's always a rinky-dink grocery store. There's always a rinky-dink Dollar General. Look, you have other choices. It's just they're not as convenient or palatable. So Walmart makes bad things more accessible.
Right.
So
I
me
totally
personally,
agree with
I
that.
haven't shopped at a Walmart in 5 years at minimum. Okay, so you can do it if you decide that's what you want to do. If all you want to do is just complain, then just complain and say that's what you're doing. But when people say that I'm against this, okay. I'm against this, okay. I'm against this, okay. Well, then do that. No, I'm against that too. Okay. Where do you shop? Same place I said I was against.
And I can answer your question, Tracy. What alternatives do these people have by not shopping at Walmart? If they don't shop at Walmart, what alternative do they have? It was very simple 20, 30 years ago.
It sure was.
It was the businesses that Walmart put out
of business. That's my point.
That was the alternative that you had.
But you can't go back
because Walmart was bigger and Walmart was cheaper and Walmart can employ more people. You decided to go to Walmart. Now you complain about Walmart when you really had an alternative that you eliminated. Again, take accountability in your actions. You eliminated the alternative. I'm with this on this. At a certain point, you're either going to argue with me and we're going to hold a discussion, or you're going to argue with me and I'm just going to shake my head, yeah, because I'm agreeing with you, but I'm not going to have a counter argument because you brought the argument on. I can't do both. You can't complain about something. You can't complain about an issue that you either help create or you're continuing to feed. I can't hold that argument with you. It's not fair. So at a certain point, I'm just going to go, yeah, you make a good point. So what do you think? Exactly the same way you think. So what should we do? Same thing we should have did 20 years ago. I can't do both.
But we can't go back there.
I can't go back. I can't do something like that. It's not fair. It's not even a fair argument. It's one thing.
It kind of goes back to what I said before. Are you willing to do, and I'm not talking about you, Tracy, people out there listening, are you willing to do what it takes to get the change that you say you want? It really comes down to that, right? And if you notice, when I gave out my example of the rolling boycott, what did I do? I said you can go against Walmart, but you can't sustain that because they're integral to too many communities. So you got to eventually you're going to have to pull back and flip to something else. So I get what you're saying, Tracy. But what I'm also saying is we have to function on what is real, right? The ideals that we want, either we didn't, like Marlon said, we didn't fight for that when it was time to fight for that, or we have to be willing to fight for it. And those are your choices, right? You literally cannot go backwards to a time or an opportunity that you've already missed.
And let me answer Parker's just real quick, and then we're gonna take a break. Marlon, if this was an actual plan, why would he try the debt relief at the beginning of his presidency when he knew it would get challenged in the courts? He waited a year and a half to even try. This is literally my opinion. You know that good old thing where we need to hold politicians accountable for their actions and what their statements are. My opinion, this was it. This was holding Biden accountable for what that came out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And the pressure got to him, and he took it back up. Believe me, if we'd have dropped it, he would have dropped it.
Because Biden's loyalty is now and forever has been going all the way to when he first came into Congress with the banks.
Yeah.
He has always sided with the banks. Every time.
An example of us saying, when we tell you to hold your candidates / your senators, your congressmen, your president, your state legislature feet over the fire and don't give up until they do what they promise they're going to do. Now, I ain't going to say it's going to always work. Hell, 9 out of 10, it ain't going to work. But my point is, don't let up. It took a year and a half of hearing this. It took a year and a half.
This is how politics works.
This is what we wanted. You said you was going to do it. Now you need to put it back on the table because you said you was going to do it, and now we want it. And he put it back on the table. Otherwise, I'm just being totally honest with you. If we would have dropped it, please, this would have never came back up again. Ever.
Nope. But now, and this
but let me rephrase that.
This is super important. Super, super important, guys. We are heading into the 2024 campaigns. Right? We are in the campaign season now.
Right
Okay?
now.
So this is what it all comes down to, folks. Right? Because politics is just a big game. It's everybody lying to everybody, trying to see what they can make a promise to or not quite make a promise to, and then walk away from. This is the time. This is the reason why Biden won't let it drop right now, is because it would be devastating.
Yeah, he would
to his campaign.
Lose.
Right.
So he has to play the game, even if his heart's not in it. Because I don't know if it is. I don't know. But even if his heart's not in it, he has to play the game because he can't risk losing 2-3% of his vote. So that means he has to pander to the black people, pander to the Latino people, pander to the young people. He has to do all of those things. He has to keep all those balls in the air. This is game time. This is where you constantly say, hey, no. You said that you were going to get student debt relief. You know, that little executive order thing, yeah, that was nice, but it didn't work. So keep pushing.
All the time.
Right? Hey, this is the time, because you're going to hear this come up probably the last 6 months. Hey, that John Lewis voting rights bill, where it at? Right? It's gonna get to. They always wait to the end with us, right? Because they just want to make us emotionally come out and vote. But but that's when you're gonna hear it. That's when the press. This is game time.
And this is what the funny thing about it is. And I'm not even taking away. I'm not taking bad things away from the candidate. That's on us too. I'm sorry, folks. The United States is a TikTok nation. We want our stuff in 20 seconds or less, and we want to be able to remember it. So if he even, and Parker, this is for you, even if he did it 90 days into his term, that he got the student relief debt done,
You get no credit.
you wouldn't remember that shit 3.5 years later.
People don't remember COVID.
Or at the very least, you would have remembered it, but you would put the caveat on it. But yeah, that was 3.5 years ago. So yeah, why would he do it? Why would he do it? We just talked about what the Democrats do. But they was saying don't stick their chest out. Yes, they do. We're just not 6 months away from 2024. 2024, you can't shut them up.
Problem.
90 days
But you made a
What
great
happens
point,
when
though.
you
2025
can't shut them
comes?
up. But oh my goodness.
When 2025 comes, then they decide which of their promises they
Oh
actually
my
want to keep.
goodness. I need a new couch.
It happens every time. But the difference is it's not about what they do after they win. It is important, but we know how the game is played. What's important is what you can make them do in order to get your vote for 2024. Right? They after they got your vote, they go back to business as usual.
Well, no.
So your concessions always happen right before the election.
Before 2024, you're gonna see 6 months of them not shutting the hell up. And I'm not being hyperbole when I say that.
No, they
Trust
won't.
me, they will not shut up.
This is the most important election of our lifetime.
Yeah,
It is.
2024, they ain't gonna shut up. They have to do 90 days this after the election because they have to give you a false sense of security that you made the right choice.
Kinda.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, they're gonna put
because he'll be the incumbent.
He made he gave his speech and he went back on everything. He said he didn't even wait to get the oath. He was like, "Oh, got the oath. I ain't doing nothing." I said nothing.
Because Trump flipped his script the day
of
inauguration day. He took that oath. Said, "Oh no, I ain't doing. No, that's okay."
Well, at the very least, he didn't say the first day he's going to be in office.
No, but
give martial law.
But I think that's a good point that you raised a second ago with Parker, because I still trip on that sometimes. People say they want certain things and they don't mean it. Like we punish our politicians for the wrong things and we reward them for the wrong things.
It's the quarterback.
Biden came into office.
Syndrome. It's the quarterback
in the middle of a plague.
And he barely beat Trump. Let's
He barely beat Trump, right? But that's a whole different thing. That's xenophobia, myopia, whole bunch of things came in to help Trump get through that. And sexism because they couldn't vote for Hillary because she was a woman. And then there's also she's being blamed for her husband. And it's like, because if you really get at people, really, real talk. Hillary Clinton, I don't like her. I didn't vote for her. I left the top of the ticket blank. I'm that guy. But here's the thing, and I'm looking backwards at it, and I'm like, but what is it that I really dislike about Hillary Clinton? It was the fact that she made that dumbass statement about the predators, right? But then also that I know some of the intricacies of Clinton's presidency that wasn't as nice as they say it was, right?
That's right.
But in that, I'm blaming her for her husband.
Yeah,
I was wrong for
they're
that.
two different politicians. I'm like, well, no,
I agree. But people say that they're against Hillary, but when you really ask them, they don't have anything on her.
Did you blame Clinton or did you blame Holden? The one who was actually Holden, the Attorney General.
Eric Holder.
James Comey.
Eric Holder.
He's talking about James Comey.
Coleman.
The guy who announced the thing right at the end of the thing.
Yeah, right at the end. I'm like,
I blame him for what he did, but I mean, that is what really beat her, I think. But the other part that truly got her is the Electoral College. Like, if you really will slow down and look at what beat Hillary Clinton, it wasn't me holding her accountable for Bill Clinton. It wasn't me not voting for her because she called young black people predators. She lost because of the Electoral College. She lost because the same places that have those little pea-brained ideas that are supporting Trump, right? The same one who will vote for Trump because he hates who they hate. Well, they hated her. Because they can't have a woman in charge.
Right.
The same areas, the same exact freaking areas. So the Electoral College is what beat Hillary. She had way more votes.
Absolutely. But yet they
right, but that's not how our politics works.
Right. Nope.
All right,
and that's if Biden loses, that's how he'll lose again. Because once it gets to the Midwest, it can flip.
All right, everybody, we gotta stop. We gotta take a break. And making another.
Oh, we gotta take a break.
Dude,
We like 2 hours in. What are you talking?
Yeah, I'm like
2 hours, almost 2.5 hours into the show.
right.